So in this part of PowerPoint presentation, we will learn about the syndromic approach for sexually transmitted infection. This is the scientific method of treating sexually transmitted infections in health facility that having lack of laboratory equipment or skills to make an etiological diagnosis. If you look at the word syndromic or the syndrome, it is a collection of signs and symptoms associated with specific health related cause. This approach, syndromic management approach, has come into vogue because the traditional approach, that is the etiological diagnosis or the diagnosis of the agent by microscopic examination and culture of the material, is expensive and time consuming, and this kind of the facility is also not available in distance part of the country, that is the rural area. So syndromic management is based on the identification of consistent group of symptoms and easily recognizable signs by the healthcare worker, and the provision of the treatment will deal with the majority of the organism that is responsible for production of that kind of the syndromes. So these are the steps involved in the adopting syndromic approach. So first we have to identify causative agents by clinical syndromes they produce. After the identification of the clinical agent, we have to choose appropriate treatment from the flow chart it is given for that syndrome. We have to treat the patients for all the important cause of concern syndrome as per the direction on the respective flow chart after examination of the patients, and we have to ensure that the partners are also treated, patients are educated, and promotion of the condom. These are the various syndromes in the sexually transmitted infections. So symptoms can be a genital ulcer in male or the female. A clinical signs which we can observe is genital ulcer on penis or the scrotum in man, or on labia, vagina, or on cervix in women. For this kind of clinical signs, the most common causes can be a syphilis, chancroid, genital herpes, LGB, or the donovanosis. And etiological agent for this kind of condition can be a Trypanosoma pallidum, Haemophilus ducreyi, herpes simplex, chlamydia agents, or Calymathobacterium granulomatosis. The second syndrome or the symptoms can be a urethral discharge or the dysuria in males, and the common clinical signs observed in this along with these symptoms can be a urethral discharge on milking the urethra, and the most common cause responsible for this kind of syndrome is gonorrhea or non-gonococcal urethritis, and the probable etiological agent is N-gonorrhea and Chlamydia trachomatis or ureaplasma. A syndrome can be in the form of vaginal discharge, that is the symptoms. Clinical signs which we can observe is abnormal vaginal and or cervical discharge, vaginal inflammation, and the cervical friability. Most common cause can be a cervicitis, gonorrhea, and chlamydial infections. And etiological agent can be a N-gonorrhea and the C. trachomatis. The symptoms can be present as a lower abdominal pain in women, and the most common cause can be a gonorrhea or the chlamydial infections, and the etiological agent can be a N-gonorrhea or C. trachomatis. Patients also show the symptoms of irregular bleeding, and it can be present as a clinical signs of vaginal or cervical discharge or the fever sometimes, and that is responsible or that is caused by the anaerobes. The symptoms can be inguinal swelling or the bubo in males or in female, and the clinical signs can be observed as inguinal lymphadenopathy with or without ulceration, and it can be lymphogranuloma venereum like conditions, And the responsible etiological agent can be C. trachomatis, strains L1 to L3. The symptoms can be a scrotal swelling or the pain in males, and the clinical signs that can be observed is redness plus edematous scrotal swellings, and the most common cause is gonorrhea or the NGU, and etiological agent can be N. gonorrhea, C. trachomatis, ureaplasma, urealyticum. So gathering information for syndromic diagnosis for STD. So history taking is most important, and the objective of history taking is to make an accurate and efficient syndromic STD diagnosis. Other objective is to define the patient's risk of transmitting or the contracting STD and to find out partners who may have been infected. History taking also helps the care provider to assess the patient's risk of becoming infected again as per his or her behavior in the context of the sexual behavior. Find the sexual partners who may need to be treated, and during history taking we can educate them about the prevention of STI, including condom promotions. While we doing the clinical examinations, we should ensure the privacy. We explain what they are going to do and its importance. Never show the embarrassment towards the patients, and always be gentle and listen to your patients. These are the roles and responsibility of the doctor who are involved in caring for the patients with the STI. We have to remember 6 C's. The first one is compliance. Ensure that the patient takes full course of the treatment as prescribed by the doctor. The second thing important is contact treatment. Yes, treat the sexual partner for the same STI condition. Initiate the treatment of the partners at the same time as the patient. The third C is condom promotion. So we have to advise, prescribe, distribute, and also demonstrate how to use condom, and it must be used correctly. And we also insist to use of condom every time when there is a sexual contact. The fourth C is counseling. So you have to counsel the patients or refer him or her for counseling center. The counseling includes risk reduction counseling and pre-test counseling for HIV/AIDS. The fifth C is continuous support. So follow-up of the patients is to ensure that there is a total cure of the conditions, not only the disappearance of the syndromes, but during the follow-up we have to more emphasize on the safer behavior in future. Refer the patients to the STI specialist if there is no improvement after the treatment. And the last is collection of the essential data. So the maintenance of the record for the STI patients will help to document, follow up, and also it is useful to track the social, demographical, and the behavior characteristic of such kind of patients. And these are the advantages of the syndromic case management. The treatment for each syndrome is immediate and it is given at the first level of the health facility. That means it is from even the primary health center, and there is a wider access to treatment catering to the large needy populations. So there is no urgency there is no need of no waiting for the laboratory results of the laboratory testings. It can be immediate. There are the ample opportunities for preventive measures in the promotion of the condom use. It is mainly done in the Suraksha clinic. And over and above, the syndromic case management is a scientific method, simple method. It is free from error in the clinical judgment. Yes, it is effective against the mixed infection as well, and it is cost effective in the long run as it does not require the laboratory test. Yes, it is concerned with the disadvantages also. So sometimes asymptomatic STI conditions are not treated except as a component of the partner treatment. That means the partners of the each and every STI patients are treated as per the guideline, but it is when the STI patient is asymptomatic, it is not treated. Yes, and yes, sometimes patients are over treated because it is the flow chart based, so it may be sometimes given the that drug that is not required for that conditions. Yes, diagnosis and the treatment for partner based on the first patient. This is a partner's treatment. So the patient having a condition of urethral discharge, so we have to treat the partner for gonorrhea and the chlamydia infection. If the first patient having a complaint of genital ulcer, we have to treat the partner for syphilis and syncytial. If the patient is having condition of vaginal discharge, we have to treat the partner for gonorrhea and the chlamydial infections. Or if the patient is treated for vaginitis or the cervicitis, it is not necessary for the partner to be treated unless the discharges recur. And for the PID, the partner is again treated for the gonorrhea and the chlamydia. Okay, now we assume that a male patient having a urethral discharge comes to your clinic. How to use this flow chart? So the first thing, as a clinician, you have to confirm the case of the urethral discharge, and if the facility is available, you have to send for laboratory investigation, and for that you can use the gram stain. And if suppose laboratory investigation is not available, then you have to treat for gonorrhea and chlamydial infections. Apart from this, you have to give health education and the counseling as well, and then you also have to examine and treat their partners. For that you can use ABCD. What is ABCD? I will tell you later on. And after the initial treatment for gonorrhea and chlamydia, uh, we ask them to come after for the follow-up after the 7 to 14 days, and again we do the clinical examination. If the clinical conditions are improved, then we mark as a clinical cure. If the discharges persist, we will further assess for the treatment compliance. If it is good, then we have to refer the patient. If the treatment compliance is good and reinfection is unlikely, we have to refer. And if the treatment compliance is bad, then we have to again start this protocol. Okay, now what is ABCD in that flow chart? A is about the notification and treatment of female partners of men with urethritis. That is the highest priority, and we can identify as having asymptomatic gonococcal and chlamydial infections. B is for the treatment, as in the urethral discharge, dual infection with the gonorrhea and chlamydial is very much common, so we should use the drug which cover for the both the agents. And for that we can use tablet cefixime 400 milligram orally in a single dose, plus tablet azithromycin 1 gram orally single dose under the supervisions. And we ask patient to return after the 7 days of start of the therapy. And when this at the end of the 7 days, if the symptom is persist or symptoms again recur after the adequate treatment, in the both in the patients as well as their partner, they should be treated for the T. vaginalis. And for the treatment of T. vaginalis, we can use tablet secnidazole 2 gram orally single dose. If the condition still persists, we have to refer to the higher center as early as possible. And suppose individual is having allergy to azithromycin, we use erythromycin in the dose of 500 milligram 4 times a day for 7 days. C is for syndrome specific guideline for partner management. We have to treat all the recent partners, treat female partner for the same infection for gonorrhea and the chlamydia on the same line after only ruling out of pregnancy and history of allergy. We have to advise for sexual abstinence during the course of the treatment. We have to educate about the use of condom, educate about the correct and consistent use, refer for the VCTC center for HIV, syphilis and hepatitis B, and schedule their visit or return after the 7 days. D is about the management of pregnant partner. We have to use different drug for their if the lady is pregnant. So pregnant partner of male client with urethral discharge should be examined by doing PV and should be treated for gonococcal as well as the chlamydial infections. Cephalosporin is a very good drug to cover the gonococcal infection, and it is also safe and effective in the pregnancy. We use tablet cefixime 400 mg orally in a single dose. In the alternative, ceftriaxone 125 mg by intramuscular injection. Plus, we also can use tablet erythromycin. It is added to the cefixime. We can use the erythromycin 500 mg orally 4 times a day for 7 days. And instead of erythromycin, we can also use capsule amoxicillin 500 mg orally 3 times a day for 7 days to cover chlamydial infections. All the quinolones including doxycyclines are contraindicated in the pregnant women. Now we ask for follow-up after the 7 days to see report of test done for HIV, syphilis and hepatitis B. If symptom persists, we have to assess whether it is due to the treatment failure or incomplete treatment or reinfection, and we require for prompt referral. Okay, now this is for your homework. You have to refer from your textbook about the syndromic management of vaginal discharge, management of lower abdominal pain in female, management of genital ulcer, management of scrotal swelling, and management of inguinal bubo. The flow chart is given in your textbook. It is easy to read and easy to understand. The notable thing is that it is not necessary to remember this flowchart in your clinical practice. You can stick it at your convenient place, and it is also hard to remember, but yes, for the exam purpose you have to memorize it. You will also learn and refer syndromic management for STI in your dermatological sections as well. In the last, this is all about the syndromic management. Thank you.